Ever.
Right. I want to hear about this flying
Got it.
Kiwi. You know,
You want to hear about
I
this
want
Flying
to,
Kiwi guy?
I want to hear about it. I really want to jump into coaching differently able athletes. All right.
Yeah,
I've
cool.
just started up with farm here in Christchurch and in Auckland, kind of branching out domestically and also in the UK, coaching everyone and everyone.
Yeah,
Inclusivity
nice.
is kind of the word that I live by. It's like I just want the shutter doors to be open and an open door policy of just like I don't give a fuck who you are. Walk through that door and I'll help you. That's it.
I like that.
But talk
I
to me about
like
this
that.
flying kiwi, man. It looks rad behind you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Um, man, talk about Flying Kiwi. I guess so yeah, my name's Michael and I coach a whole bunch of athletes with special needs. Back in 2015, I had a teacher from the local special needs school came into our gym. I was the fitness director at the time, looking after a team of like 17 PTs, I think it was. They weren't my PTs; they were like Good Life's PTs. I was just kind of the manager at the time.
Yeah.
And this lady came in and said, "Hey, got a whole bunch of kids in my class. You know, they're getting on. They're going to graduate at the end of this year. They're getting a little bit larger than what I'd like, and we want to start some good habits and have them kind of exercising, quite consistently before they leave school. So after school, they can kind of continue that onward. Is anyone here able to help out?" And as the fitness director at the time, my manager at the time forwarded them to me, and I said, "Oh well, look, my job is to make our PTs all busy. Let's have a look." So we look at the big PT board, and up on the board it was like, all these people that were strength and conditioning and blah 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 blah, but no one actually had any qualification or experience with anyone with special needs. And I was kind of like, "Oh, no one here is kind of qualified, not too sure." And my boss goes, "Oh, well, aren't you qualified?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," like I had never thought about it, but yeah, I had done some electives inside my course and things like that because I studied 2 years full time for mine. And I was like, "All right, well, yeah, cool, like let's do it." My job was to make them busy, so I wasn't on the board, so I couldn't even see myself, right? So I was kind of like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, man, like sure, I'll take it. Sounds good." And so the following week, the class came in with Janine, beautiful lady. I'm still in contact with her, still see her twice a week. And yeah, she brought in a class of 8 students, and I spent like an hour and a half with them, like just trying to teach them how to use a treadmill, move our legs all at once, sit down and stand up, safely. And man, hour and a half, bro, I was hooked. I was so hooked. So I was in the PT game for probably 4 years by that stage. And you take the 45-year-old guy that went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Hey man, you need to lose 10, 15 kilos because you're gonna kill yourself early." And he goes, "Oh, okay, well, I'll have to stop drinking, huh?" And so you take him and you train him, and they lose 10 kilos. And after they've lost that 10 kilos, they go back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "All right, well done." And we go, "Hey, you lost 10 kilos. Like, well done." And he's like, "Yeah, I can go back to drinking." And you're like, "Cool, bro."
Yeah.
And, on that day, I took one of the young fellas up on the treadmill, and we got him to walk on the treadmill without like holding on for dear life. And he managed to let go and just like start walking by himself. The big smile and the big holy shit moment he had of like, "I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm walking 2Ks an hour, right? Like nothing. Like
Mm.
there's barely past treadmill minimum." And he was just stoked. And I was like, "This is my shit. This is cool." And so like yes, about 3 months later, maybe 6 months, a couple of the parents approached us. So of little Joe and Alex, and said, "Hey, look, like our young ones that we got to the gym, apparently they're loving it. Do you do this on a 2-to-1 basis? Like, could you coach them inside the gym?" And I was only obviously doing the group stuff with the school completely free. I wasn't charging them for anything. I just took it outside of my management hours. I was like, "Yeah, this is fun. Like, I'll just do that instead because it's more fun than paperwork, like by a billion times."
For sure.
And I was like, "Yeah, man, like let's give it a try." So that was 2015. And I started looking after little Joe and Alex, and still to this day, Thursday I saw Joe, Wednesday I saw Alex. 7 years, bro. Like, man, I went to their 18th, 21st. I went to their formal. They're like little brothers to me now, man. And now we don't just look after Alex and Joe. We've got a couple now. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool, dude. I literally say it all the time, man, but I got the best job in the world. Like, it's just another level of fun. So so now that's what we do. So full time, I quit my lecturing role, quit my management role. I quit the management role to go to lecturing, and then quit the lecturing because the PT was so fun, and the place I was at got bankrupt as well. And so it just kind of threw me more into the deep end. And over time, my kind of gen pop client of like 90% and my special needs clientele of 10%, the ratio just kind of slowly slid until it was 100%. And now we've got I don't know if you can see it there, but we've got a team of 6 now that look after a whole bunch of athletes and help us run our kind of programs. So it's wild, man. To sit here and talk about it, it's actually really cool because I'm always so in the doing the thing, right, that I never really zoom out and think about it. So it's pretty cool, man. I'm a fucking lucky dude, bro. It's so cool. I got the best job in the world, man.
Improving lives, man, on a daily basis, and it's taken a demographic of the population that is usually just kind of fringed, right? They're pushed to the outskirts, and it's been like, no, fuck that. Come on in the middle. It's like, dude, what do you mean in the middle? What do you mean in a place where notoriously, it's not really catered for us? It's like, no, fuck that. Come on, in you get. Let's go in the deep end. Let's figure it out. And then just the excitement on their face is unbelievable, mate. Like, the amount of times I've just started tearing up and I've had to slap myself in the face and being like, Alex, come on, you've got to coach for the rest of, like,
finish the session, bro.
You got to finish the session, man. I'm just there in bits. Just, oh my God. Like, it's like, Alex, pull yourself together, lad. Cry later.
God, I enjoy my job too much. Oh, help me.
They're like, oh, maybe this lad needs some help. Go get a counselor. I was like, yeah, you wouldn't be half wrong, but let's.
They're looking for a coach for you.
Yeah. I need to be in the program. Yeah, man, it's so rewarding, dude.
It is, man. It really is. It's and you obviously, as a coach yourself, right, you experience it as well, that the level of satisfaction, the differentiation between like of achievement, right? It's wild. We have a young one named Talitha. She comes up a lot. We've been on like Sunrise and stuff with her, which has been really cool. Just because it's so wholesome, basically. But a young one, Talitha, she is now 23, I think. But you'd see her, you'd think she was maybe 7 or 8. But brittle bones and got a whole bunch of things going on. But beautiful little human. You just love being her. She's just so infectious and so loving, and you talk to her about everything. And we a while ago, she had her surgery. So I looked after her. So 2015, looked after the Aspley Special School. 2016, I looked after Pine Rivers and Aspley Special School. Pine Rivers heard about us. They came along. So I was looking after 2 different classes. And inside the Pine Rivers School like class was Talitha. And when I first met her, very, very, very shaky, very nervous in movement, almost always, like kind of utilizing, like a walker and stuff. And ended up, we finished school. I got to hang out with her at the gym, finished school, and then she ended up needing a hip replacement. So 17 years old, hip replacement, and on her right side. And she is so left-handed that if she sits at the table and her drink is over here, she'll twist her whole body and grab it with her left hand and come back, right? And so the dominance on her left side versus her right is huge. And she had her hip replacement, and it ended up being even worse because she can't even stand and kind of rotate to the right. She can't rotate to the left because she can't spin her body around with the drive from her right side, right? So after she had a hip replacement and stuff, the parents came back to us like, hey, we know you work with Talitha. Can you do some rehab? We've been to physio, had the surgery, da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, cool. So we brought her back in. and it's taken like a long time. But like back maybe 2019, we had done a bunch of rehab with her, not just me, obviously physios and specialists and stuff, all amongst it. But I remember the day we kind of got her walking. She was able to walk without holding on to me. So she's walking without a wheelchair and stuff like that. And that alone, near tears, right? Like, because she's back to doing it herself. She could do a little bit at home, but not very much. And we worked her all the way up. And I was talking to her one day about, like, oh, we've got to carry, we've got to start carrying something, as you can imagine, carry something up her back, keeps her upright, all that sort of stuff, more anchored to the ground, right? She's not as floppy. And we gave her like a 3-kilo ball, and we could walk a lap holding a 3-kilo ball. We walked all the way down to the end of like the treadmills and back 12 meters back. And she walked the whole way, just kind of slapping her feet, slowly turned herself around, slapped herself all the way back. And like, we got the set, right? And we made it all the way. I was stoked, high fives and stuff. And, talking to her, like, what can we do now? And we decided that now she can carry stuff around the house, right? Now she can carry her own iPad around the house instead of having to ask mom and dad, right? Like, just the difference in what life quality is by improving their 10% or 20% versus what we do for the able-bodied. Like, what is the average male that comes to you between 18 and 24? Hey, man, get me some bigger pecs and some shoulders, so when I go out, I can flex and get some pussy, right? And Talitha,
which never works.
Hey, I want, yeah, and or if it builds the confidence for them to actually have the confidence to talk to a girl and break the ice, maybe, but they can't even talk to a female at the gym, and generally those females are lifting more than them, which makes it even funnier. But like, then you get Talitha at the other end of the spectrum, right? She doesn't have to ask mom and dad for a hand anymore, right? Like, now you're just talking, now she's more independent. That's fucking cool. Like, I take that a million times over than Gen Pop stuff. I still have requests and stuff for Gen Pop and things, and I just forward them on to other PTs. I'd like not even to my staff. I forward them on to wherever. Because it's just it's not of interest to me now. That's not what like Flying Kiwi does now, is because there's no satisfaction in it, and that might be a bit selfish on my part, but you probably have the experience yourself, right? There's a certain level of care factor you require in order to be able to help the athletes, right? That level of care factor comes across if you watch the session from afar. If you can see the sessions from afar, or you see things online, or whatever. Online is not as good. People know a camera's rolling, they put it on a little. But you see sessions from afar, and sometimes you can really, a lot of the time, you can really pick out the give a fuck factor. And when that give a fuck factor starts faltering when there's no cameras around, to what level are you performing a disservice to the client, to the athlete, right? If your job genuinely is to try and help them improve their life, where does your lack of care slow down their progress in their life, right? So the whole goal of Flying Kiwi is helping athletes with special needs live a longer, stronger, more confident life. That's it. So how do we help them live longer? How do we make them be stronger? And how do we make them more confident, right? So we have things to cover all of those. That is the goal. And every time they walk out the gym, they have to walk out with a smile on their face. That is the ultimate goal for all of the coaches. You have to walk out with a smile. Now, I don't give a fuck if you sit down with them for an hour and you fucking play patty cake, right? Yep. I don't care.
Yep.
If they start associating happiness with exercise, happiness with the gym, we want exercise equals happy. That's all we want. Exercise equals good. Then in the long term, right? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, when they are not paying us, when we have zero monetary value with them, they have nothing to fucking do with us. They're in a completely different state. We want all of the athletes that come through with us to be able to come home from their shitty day with their support worker, or crappy day at work, or whatever the case, right? We want them to come home, and we want them to, when they're in their shitty mood, we don't, instead of them going, oh, like, bad day. I want food. I want McDonald's. I want KFC or whatever. We turn a destructive decision into a constructive decision of, oh, I'm angry. What used to make me happy? Gym. Okay, I want to go exercise. Exercise used to make me happy. And we've turned that destructive into a constructive. And now we've kind of flipped their switch of how we help them live longer. That's nothing to do with them paying us nothing. This is fucking years and years down the track. And that totals all the way back to like, when they're with us, the goal is to make sure they're smiling. Well, no, 0 is safety. Number 1 is they walk out with a smile. And then number 2 is we watch progression, right? And if we can make sure those all happen, then regardless if they've got anything to fucking do with us in the future, we can hopefully help them have a better connotation with like how they perceive exercise and what they do for their future. And they can live longer, right? And they can try and be stronger. And odds are more confident if they're able to take themselves to the gym. How great would that be for them? Like that's huge progress. Like you would know if you do the calculation on like a gym session. I'm sorry, this caffeine is hitting me something chronic, man.
Brother, go do it.
If they're like,
talk to me.
If they're like, you think about the calculation of a gym session, how much would you burn in a gym session? To 150 calories. With some of the guys, even less, right? Motivation, muscular innovation, able to push past like a certain limitation of like lactic acid, all that sort of stuff, right? So 100 to 400 calories, right? If you're taking them once a week, twice a week for those 100 to 400 calories, right? Over the course of a year, you can make a relatively decent distance. And if they're training with you for the average of 2.5 years, whatever your clientele lifespan is, then, great. You've burned a whole bunch of calories. If you can teach them that happiness standard, if you can teach them that this is how we do it, this is why we do it, depending on what level of kind of comprehension they have. If you aren't really able to teach them why, you teach them, you want big muscles, you want to feel strong, you want to, can you do this by yourself now? Very good. High five. Awesome. Here's your to-do list. You do this, you become muscles, right? Simple as. Almost all of our clientele can pick that up, right? If we can get them to be able to perform some version of a to-do list, and they know the top 2 safety mechanisms of whatever exercise it is, on a seated row, big tall chest, and then strong man backwards. Sweet. That's it. They just need the top 2, right? The rest will kind of fall into place. As long as they have some version of that, if they're able to go 3 times a week, but because they are able to do it themselves, they can go the rest of their fucking lives. How much of a difference have you made, right? I don't give a fuck about your monetary transaction. It's how much more difference can you make in that future, and how much better can you make their lives moving forward from there when they have nothing to fucking do with you, right? It shouldn't be a goal of like, I can make this person do blah. It's, I can help them do this, and odds are by themselves eventually, right? If you can get that in their 3, 5, 10-year goal while they're with you, mate, you fucking win, right?
Yeah,
like, that's brilliant.
I think a lot of coaches forget that they are also going to be a walking billboard for you. Like everybody's spending money on social media ads and all this type of stuff, right? Ads. Put some money in it. I was like, okay, great. But if you help one person, right, and you do a phenomenal job, that one person isn't going to shut up about you.
Yeah.
Like, and they're just going to keep going and going and going, especially if you've got a internet kind of like branch to your business, right? They can kind of access you via the internet, and you can be remote. It's like that's a walking billboard.
Yeah.
So even if you wanted to attack it from I got a business hat on, right? I was like, that's ROI right there. And that's ROI for the next 50 years. Not, I'm going to spend $500 for a 1-month ad, and I'm probably going to get 1 return on it, and they're probably going to leave after 2 weeks. And then I'm going to think Facebook marketing doesn't work, right? And you're just like, how about
We've all been there. We've all been there.
It's like, it does work if you've got tens of thousands of USD to throw at it, but most people don't, right? And it's like, if we remember why we got into the industry in the first place, which is, it's not about you, it's about them, right? And passion is free. They're not paying you to be a cheerleader. They're not paying you to be passionate. All right. That should just be a given. All right, they're paying you for a bit of knowledge, yeah, and then for you to be able to adapt it to that individual. That's it.
100%. Yeah. And like, if you truly, even without the business hat on, if you truly gave a shit, then your version of giving a shit would be getting your client a result. And oh, that's terrible sirens. Your version of getting your client like their goal, right, is giving a shit. And the fact that your client not only felt like you were there to help them, but any question you did have, any solutions that were required, any alterations that had to happen, your passion around getting your client to the goal, or your passion around them getting there, is exactly that. That's testimonial.
Yep.
That's testimonial shit right there, right?
Yep.
What are testimonials online? Testimonials online are literally what people would say to other people about you if you didn't have a gun to your head. That's all it is. And they're just taken into a quote and then like made nice fancy lettering and like a cool photo down the bottom of before and after or whatever. That's your testimonial. If your testimonial is literally just telling the truth, then you being passionate is also being a business hat, right? But I think there can be a lot of short-sighted coaches that go, if I can just sell them to an 8-week, and then I can sell them into and then I can sell them to be in our Facebook group for $5 a month. But then they have that going out to their 200,000 followers, and then now they're turning over $3,000 a month just from being in a Facebook group, right? And then they're like, hey, I pay someone $100 a week to manage that shit, and now there is no give a shit factor. It's, hey guys, I worked my booty today, want to see? And now you're just running an OnlyFans through Facebook. Like, you aren't going to get anywhere long term for that shit. There are coaches over here there, and they are notorious for it. And like, I hate naming names and things like that. But you see this is kind of like as Insta really started getting big, right? So we're talking like the 2015 to 2017 era, and as like fitness influencers were doing things like INBA and WBFF and things. I don't know if there's a version of WBFF in New Zealand, but a lot of the New Zealand athletes would come over and compete over here.
Yep.
And they would win these competitions, and it would get them to a world stage, right? And it's literally world beauty, fitness, and fashion. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the version of the competition. But funnily enough, that is very, very appealing for social media. And it became fucking huge, right? From that, the businesses that were built around the different, like divas and the different, so you'd become a WBFF diva, like world diva or whatever if you won. And then the dudes would become like I don't know, a male escort or whatever the fuck they end up calling it. But they had these titles, right? And then they would run that on Instagram and on Facebook, and these Facebook pages and Instagram pages would become enormous because they were like world renowned, right? And then the stories start coming out after a year, 2 years, 3 years of like, hey, I saw X coach and I joined their challenge thing, and it cost me, $200 a month. And they just sent me a spreadsheet, and I entered in my weight, and then the spreadsheet spat out, oh, this is your weight? No worries. Here's your macros. Here are the exact things to eat. And every single time they're eating like a bowl of ice for lunch and 3 almonds for dinner, right? And they would try it and they'd lose weight originally, but the long term of that was they'd come out the other side and they'd keep trying, hey guys, I'm not losing weight in the Facebook group. And then someone would respond, hey, try this recipe, do this, do that. Because some of the people who were at a low enough body weight that 1,500 calories wasn't as bad as the people that were 100 kilos still trying to eat 1,200 calories, right? So there were some people that were motivated and were like, no, this coach is good, this coach works. Other people in the group were like, oh, okay, if other people have had the result, I'll keep going. When in reality, it needs to be customized, it needs to be followed, it needs to be whatever. Oh, you're not losing weight? Did you do all 7 days of your cardio this week? It doesn't help. And then long term, all these people coming out, more research comes out with nutrition, more research comes out with different coaches, people that have actually been to university, people that have done their precision nutrition, their ISSN, sorry, all that stuff. And they're kind of like, hey, can you help me out with my metabolism? I can't eat more than 1,500 calories without smashing on weight. My period stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, that, the other. I was in blah Facebook group. I was in blah Instagram group, and I've got a couple friends that are very high up there on the nutrition level of things. And they're like, dude, the volume of people that come to me from X, Y, and Z coaches from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and then they went through COVID, which made it worse because they sat at home 3 meters from their fridge.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
they would smash the calories, and they were enormously putting on weight, and they wouldn't lose weight now when they're on, 1,800 to 2,000 calories, because their body's like, nah, we're holding on to this because starvation mode for us is that low. Right. It's terrible, man.
Mm.
I don't understand how some of the influencers can go, oh, just follow this program, send, and they're making 15 to 25 to some of them 50 grand a month out of ruining people's lives.
Well, it just goes back to
know?
your moral compass, man. Like, some people are okay with doing that. Okay, fine. Like, who am I to judge? We've all done shit in the past, whether that's in the fitness industry or out of the fitness industry. And to be
Yeah.
honest, like, just from darting around different countries, seeing different people, whatever, I've just learned to, all right, I'm gonna keep my head down. I know my intentions are somewhat pure, right? Because we are all corrupted, we are human beings. But my heart is always going to remain on my sleeve, and I'm going to speak from it as much as I can.
Yeah.
And if people want to go somewhere else because they look pretty in a miniskirt, or they want to pay, 100 USD a month or week or whatever for this, that, and the other, then you have that right to go do that. That's absolutely fine. And I'm not going to judge if you come back. I'm just going to help the people that are in front of me. I'm going to help the people that want to talk, that want to listen, or whatever. And honestly, like, I just don't stress about it no more. All
Yeah.
that other part of the industry, like, because I think the fitness industry is the best and the worst industry at the same time, right? Because it's not going anywhere. Let's be honest. It's
Nah,
healthcare.
we'll always have something to do. Yeah.
Exactly. But at the
Yeah.
same time, we get to help people, right? We
Yeah.
change people's lives from teaching people how to air squat. We teach fitness and we help lives, right?
Yep.
Essentially, we are the doorman. We are the first port of call, all right? And then we kind of defer on, right? But at the same time, we shoot each other in the foot. Oh, Zumba, nah, fuck that. That's shit. You shouldn't do that. Oh, CrossFit is bad for you. Weightlifting's bad. Don't do a spin class. Or I'm like, go fuck yourself. Okay,
Yeah,
just
dude. They're
just
all
go
just
do
like, what do you
do
prefer,
whatever you want.
man?
Just do whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
We're
And
all we're
yeah,
all in this
dude,
together.
100%, man. Like, man, I've done relatively competitive powerlifting. I've done CrossFit. I had to learn Olympic lifting via CrossFit. I've done strongman and I've done bodybuilding. I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, man. There's a place
There
for them all.
wasn't, dude, that's it. And it's like, what mode do you enjoy? I don't care if you get your 200 calories burnt from going for a walk around the Brisbane River, or if you get it from going for a hike, or if you get it from jumping in a spin class.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do it? Like, do you like it?
Did you move
Like,
around? Yeah.
yeah, man. Like, I could give you
Yeah, man.
the best nutritious, micronutrient perfect meal plan,
Yeah.
and you could do that for a week. But if you don't like it, you're not going to do it for the 8th day,
Mm.
right? Like, you just put together what relatively works. Does it kind of slightly knock you in the right direction? Well, then go.
Mm.
Like, that's perfect. It might take you longer, but at least you'll get there, right? You're better off taking 1,000 steps relatively in the right direction than what you are taking 5 steps in a perfect direction, because otherwise you're gonna fucking go nowhere. You know what I mean?
100%, man.
Yeah, it's trying to just, yeah, I think having an end goal is great, but making the goal actually just the process of getting to the goal is so much better,
What's the
rather
Buddha
than
quote,
just
right? Happiness is not
uh
a destination, it's the journey.
yeah, okay, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I was more meaning like That's actually a very good way to put it. I was coming along the lines of like seeing people go, I need to lose 10 kilos. And so the goal is 10 kilos, and they just spray out everywhere a whole bunch of different things, everything they hear, right? Instead of making it, my goal is for 5 days this week, eating all the stuff that is on my meal plan, or even if they're just tracking macros, my goal for this week is to stay under my 2,000 calories every day and
Mm-hmm.
make sure I have my 2 bits of meat or whatever, right? Making that the goal, what are they called? Like lack and lag measures or whatever, and having it, in the long term, the version of that is, like you're getting micro, not only are you getting like micro hits of, I achieved my goal today. I had 5 days in a row of me achieving my goal. And then on the weekend, you grab a fucking pizza. Like, cool. Does that put you in the right direction? If you're, if you make a deficit of 7,000 calories, is what, 7,700 calories to a kilo of body fat, right? You burn 7,000 over the week, and then on the weekend you eat 4,000. So now you're in a deficit of 3,000. You're still 3,000 ahead. You might take longer, but like you're better off doing that for 52 weeks of a year than what you are. Do it for 3 weeks perfectly and lose 3 kilos, and then be like, oh, well, you know what? I really enjoy 9 tubs of ice cream in a week, like, because I can't be fucked with my meal plan. It just comes like, yeah, just like you said, it comes down to purpose. Like, why are you doing it?
Yeah,
Like
and it's consistency too, right?
hmm,
And you just got to find something that you're okay with doing continuously,
mm,
right? Even when you don't want to do it, because we're gonna get that time, you're gonna be tired, but you're gonna have to show up. But if you're always relying on willpower, like it's you're gonna end up running out,
yeah,
So just I like Zomba, great. Just do it 3 days a week, man.
yeah, that's it. Does it make you sweat?
Yeah,
Right? Does your heart rate go
fantastic.
up?
You know,
Yeah,
oh,
man.
I don't really like weightlifting anymore. Great, don't weightlift. Fucking leave it
Yeah,
alone.
it's as
Hey,
simple as that.
I don't really want to run. I was like, are you a competitive athlete? No. Do you strive to be? No. Why are you here? Oh,
Are
just
you
for a
running
little bit
from
of like,
dinosaurs?
yeah, just for a little GPP. Great. Jump on a rower.
Yeah,
Like, don't
that's it.
fucking run.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. So we for all the kids, like I guess coming back to the Flying Kiwi thing, but like for all the kids, we wanted to make sure they felt like a purpose, right? So a couple of years ago, we wanted them to have like the here is target, right? And so for the guys, the target for them is nowhere near as like tangible, right? So we can give them the barbell and go, hey, like you were lifting 50 and now you're lifting 70, right? And the majority of them, you can, bigger barbell equals good, right? They're getting stronger, sweet, bigger muscles, loving it.
Mhm.
Some of the guys they really can understand, like I got some guys that are quite high functioning autism or fragile X, stuff like that, and they're very, very good. So they can see like percentage change, or they can see like, hey, we were doing a Big George, right? He's last year at our Flying Kiwi Cup, which is our powerlifting meet we run. He benched 87, bit of a grinder, got it up there for a bench. And this week we're leading into our Flying Kiwi Cup. It's 5 weeks away actually today. And he benched 95 and made it look like he could bench like 105, right? So it just came down, bang, went back up. His concept of